Everyone faces dark times, no matter how rich or strong or enlightened they are. Some people do better than others. They rise to the challenge and ride the ups and downs to a successful outcome. How can you build your strength to hold and use power? We're nearing the end of our journey on the pathway to power. A pathway in which we explored those things which tend to disempower us, moving on to the activities and the state of mind that we can bring into creating and promoting power, and then examining how we can sustain the power. To finish, to complete, to conclude. What does this mean? I'll tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that we're done. Frankly, we're never done, and I'm actually quite glad. Nature is a good example of this. Nature and the four seasons. We have the season of spring, in which there is inspiration, seeds are planted. There's summer, in which that inspiration is nurtured, those seeds turn into crops. There's fall, a time of harvest when we pick the fruit of what has been grown. And then there's the winter time. That seems to be a time of rest, a time of consideration. And it's this period of rest and consideration that I'd like you to examine with me. And I'll share my own story. I am someone who loves projects. I love to keep busy. I love power of creation and expansion. So it took me 10 years to paint 64 of these doors, and when I was done, I thought I was done. And actually I was kind of sad. And there was a time of quiet and not much activity. Oh, I found other things to do, but what next? And then there came the inspiration to write about what I had learned from doing the doors. And so 2 books came out of that, and then I was done. And I thought, okay, well, I guess this time I am done. But no, actually, what happened next after a period of quiet is that there was an opportunity then to create films around the images of the doors. So as you can see, you may reach a finish point, a completion, a conclusion, but you're never done. So what do we do with this? Well, there is an attitude, a belief that really helps, especially during those quiet times. You can see there's nothing quiet about this. But this is sometimes how I feel when a project comes to conclusion. There's an inner seething, a juice that's starting to come up, a sense of, oh boy, what's next? And this sense of where do we go from here? It requires a couple of things. One is we really have to behave as one does in winter, which is to draw back, to come inside, in this case inside ourselves, and consider what we have gained from our experience. And by the way, when we do anything, any project like these doors, for example, the project changes us. We have been transformed into something, someone quite new, quite different, quite expanded. Anyway, a time of quiet in order to consider what you've accomplished and how you've been changed. A time of quiet simply to let time go by for new things to begin to germinate. And a time to sit back and enjoy abundance. And how do we promote abundance? Well, we don't actually, but our attitude does. An attitude of gratitude is what keeps abundance flourishing. And so, in conclusion to our journey together, I would like to share a project with you which will let you experience gratitude. It will let you have a focus and also involve activity. I hope you enjoy it. To go along with the idea that we want to be able to sustain our power, I'd like to provide you with some tools to show your appreciation. Have you ever noticed that appreciation motivates more? If somebody thanks you for what you've done, you really feel acknowledged and you would like to continue to do things that are appreciated. Well, how do we express our appreciation to Source, to the universe? How can we show our gratitude where sending a card just doesn't do it? The best way to express gratitude is to actually involve yourself in a process where you're focused on that feeling. So it's not about product, it's really about the process. There's several ways to go about doing this, of course. If you're musically inclined, you could create a song. If you like to work with words, then a story or a poem would be wonderful. If you enjoy visual things, then of course you could do that as well. And that's what I'll be showing you here in this demonstration. There are many things that we can use to create this collage, this assemblage of pictures. You can use cards that you've received in the past, birthday cards, thank you cards, I love you cards, because all of them have an essence of appreciation about them. You can cut pictures out of magazines or words out of magazines that show the things that you love and appreciate in life. Or perhaps you have photographs that you can use, and that's what I've chosen to do today. After completing the 64 doors, of course, we took many pictures of them, and I decided I would love to do today's process using them. So I chose to cut these pictures up. If that's something that you're going to plan to do, then your supplies would include a sheet of white paper, any size that you want to work, scissors, glue, and of course your photos or that which you're going to put on the paper. Now, I am going to start with the fact that I've already cut my pieces of paper here, and I am just going to go ahead and put some glue down on the surface. This is an opportunity for me to work with images that I have created over the years that I will say that Source has inspired me to create over the years. And so as I assemble this piece of work, I am thinking about the experiences that came with each one of the images. Now, what you don't see here and what has been going on behind the scenes is that I have been playing with how to organize these images for many, well, hours, frankly, many days. And so my sense of really getting a lot out of this process has gone on much longer than what I'm showing you here. This is a meditative process. It's a process during which you think about, oh, how did I get started in all this in the first place? What was the seed that began this expression? Then you think about, what were the gifts that I received along the way? Who stepped in to help me? What wonderful book or resource did I just happen across in the midst of my project or my process? Where did it take me that filled me with surprises? And I've already shared with you that not only was this a work of painting many doors, but it became a book writing project and a film project as well. So what we do with our power often leads us into experiences that we never knew existed. And then at the conclusion of our creative process here, we think about, well, how has this work literally created a change in who I am today? Oh, the answer to that question is really a fun and interesting one. So, being involved in a process during which you can think about gratitude and think about what it is that you really benefited from in doing it is extremely helpful. Now, I've just done something very straightforward. If you don't like things that are nicely lined up in a row and you would like to actually show a little more action or reaction, here is a sample that's wild and totally out of control, and that's fun too. During this process, I was cutting out photographs and I decided on one photo that I would outline a picture or outline a leaf. So I literally put a leaf on here and drew around it. And when I took the leaves and I organized them, let's see if I can find this. When I took and organized the leaves, they created this wonderful butterfly shape, which then went on to inspire a brief poem. Now this is a haiku type poem, meaning that the first line has 5 words, the second line 7, I don't mean words, 7 syllables, and the last line has 5 syllables again. And it reads, from acorn to oak, chrysalis to butterfly, we can burst our shell. That's what power is all about. It's about empowering yourself to go beyond the seed, the chrysalis, the shell, and become all that you can be.